Hey gang, it's Bob Bannister from Rock Is Not Dead Australia and CGCM Rock Radio coming at you with another edition of Rock Talk. Now, before we get going, let's do that like, share, subscribe thing. Click the button, keep up to date because what helps you helps us, and drop us a comment as well. Now, this time around, we're visiting Newcastle. No, not Newcastle, UK. We're visiting Newcastle, Australia. It's funny just how many times the different names get passed around from the original UK to be it here in Canada, be it here over in Australia. I know there's a Newcastle here in Ontario, and there's Newcastle in Australia, Newcastle UK, probably several down in the US as well. It's just crazy. It blows my mind. This time around, we are chatting with the band Wayward Kings. We're chatting with Ryan and we're chatting with Matt from Wayward Kings. And we had a really great chat. And the funny thing is sometimes you go into these chats and you don't know what to expect, and everything just turns out absolutely aces. And that's exactly what it was with Wayward Kings. Matt and Ryan, two fantastic guys that make some really great music along with their band Wayward Kings. So let's step into the Rock Talk studio, have a chat with Matt and Ryan of Wayward Kings on this edition of Rock Talk with CGCM Rock Radio and Rock Is Not Dead Australia. And as promised, kids, yes, here we go. It is another edition of Rock Talk, welcoming this time around from Newcastle, Australia, from the band Wayward Kings. We've got Matt, we've got Ryan. Welcome to this edition of Rock Talk, guys.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
How's things in Newcastle today?
It is windy it is. It was a beautiful morning, and then it's really humid. And there's probably 40-kilometre-hour winds.
And there's a bushfire somewhere. It's smoky.
Yeah.
But the day's gotten better after seeing Ryan's shirt, though.
How good is it?
That is a capital shirt, my friend. That is a capital shirt.
So we went and did a little mini tour with a few bands to Vanuatu, and this is from Vanuatu, and it's sort of like my Happy Sunday shirt. When I put it on, I know nothing's going to bother me.
Yeah? That is awesome. Now, for our Canadian viewers and listeners, explain to us, whereabouts is Newcastle in Australia?
So a lot of your listeners and viewers probably know Sydney on the East Coast.
Yes.
Yep. And we're about 2 hours north, hour and a half, 2 hours, I guess, pretty much north. Newcastle's right on the coast, and it's probably got some of the nicest beaches, along the East Coast for a capital city.
Heaps of beaches.
There's probably about, I think there's about half. There's probably about 500,000 people in the greater Newcastle area.
Okay.
And it's quite big, the actual area, as opposed to, say, Sydney. It takes you about an hour and a half sometimes to get out to the end of the Hunter Valley, which is all part of Newcastle.
Okay.
And that's where all the wineries are. Beautiful wineries.
Nice. Making me jealous because as we sit right here, right now, we are sitting at, what is it here? 17 below, feels like 19 below, and we've got probably about 50 centimeters of snow.
Well, you guys have had a massive snowstorm over there.
That was down in the U.S. We've gotten a lot here. Like we're on the Great Lakes, so we get what's called lake effect. It doesn't show up on the radar. It just, the wind comes out of a certain direction. If the lakes aren't frozen, we're gonna get walloped.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, right.
I've never seen snow. I've never seen snow.
I've never even seen -17 anywhere.
Consider yourselves lucky.
Actually, Matty, you have seen minus 17. It's on your golf scorecard.
Yes, like that. That is correct. That is correct.
That's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Not today, though. Not today.
So, gentlemen, tell us the story of the Wayward Kings, please.
All right. Well,
All right.
Matty and I we sort of started hanging. Actually, I was the young wannabe musician 15 something years ago, and Matty had played the scene and played in bands, and I think I just sort of somehow managed to squirm my way into your friend group, and then we started sort of playing some shows and writing some music, and we were called Little King when we sort of first started, and we had a hiatus for about 5 years, I think. And at that point, we weren't little anymore, and we become Wayward, I think, more than anything. So that was the rebrand, and then we got a couple of new guys together, Jamie Hill and Nick Bouquet on the drums, and we did our first EP, and that's Puppet Monster, Rising Sun, Raging Beauty, and Confessions, and that was, I think, 2000. It was during COVID.
Yeah, right at the start of COVID.
Yeah. And and then we just trying to power on through as an independent rock band.
There you go. And you've got a new single out now called "Gimme 5." I was listening to that a few minutes ago. Again, I got to say that song kicks ass. I love that song.
It's a really it's an interesting one for us because we didn't write any of it, and it was written by Robert Fiddler, I think.
Okay.
To put together for Gimme 5, which is Australia, New Zealand Rugby League and Rugby Union.
Okay.
Beach Vibes.
Beach
Oh,
Vibes.
I didn't know that. Okay, thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah, and so we didn't, like I said, we didn't have any necessarily writing components of it. So I think we went into it going, this is going to be the theme song for
the TV
Gimme
show,
5, the Beach Vibes, and it was nice to go in to sort of do it because when he wrote the lyrics, he actually put it into like an AI generator, and it built sort of the song.
Right.
And then we listened to it, and we were like, that's really cool, and then Matty laid down some demos, and then we sort of went in and recorded the track.
So you said it's the Fives beach rugby. Is that what you said it is?
Yeah, Beach Fives is the competition in Australia. They've got just a mix of rugby league and rugby union.
Okay.
And they played on the beach with a blow up, blow up field, and they have really
like
short games.
Castle,
Yeah, like a jumping castle.
It's really cool.
It's like beach volleyball.
Yeah, you got to check it out because there's some really good promo on the website for Beach Fives, and you'll be able to sort of see it, what we're trying to talk about. But it's an incredible thing. It's been going for about 5 years, and they're really starting to get a bit of traction. So we sort of come in at a pretty good time. Yeah, and it's been cool to write it, or not write it, but perform it and release it. So.
Yeah, that is very cool. That is very cool. So, Matt, where do you draw your musical influences from?
Mine, they're very varied. I I play classical guitar and flamenco guitar. So they start from Bach, I guess. And before Bach.
Right.
And so I play a lot of fingerstyle guitar. But then, I started getting into blues, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Gary Moore, and then, got into heavier music, so, Tool, there's a band over here called Carnival, and Metallica, like all the classic heavy rock bands and stuff,
Yeah.
Love it all pretty much, There's not really a genre that I don't like besides really slow country and western. Can't really handle that too much, but
I like two
more the
types
west,
of music. I
more
like
the
two types
western.
of music. That's country and western.
Wes, the Blues Brothers.
Uh, you know, but yeah, pretty much all of that. Yeah, that's where my background is.
All right, and for you, Rob, where do you draw your influences from?
Well, I wanted to just chime in really quickly because Maddie's very modest. Maddie went and studied classical at the conservatorium for several years,
Right.
and he's one of the most incredible guitarists that I've ever seen and ever met. And yeah, I just wanted to give you a bit more credit there, Maddie, because you're a phenomenal player, and you work for your art. So, but yeah, no,
Thanks, Dave.
oh, my pleasure, mate. My influences, I'm a big Metallica fan. Um, I'm a grunge lover.
Mm-hmm.
Pearl Jam, Days of the New. There's a lot of sort of flavors of our early stuff that we did with acoustic as well, and I used to listen to their stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know, it does something to me. I love the acoustic. I love the heavy guitar, heavy acoustic guitar, and look, I don't mind a bit of Keith Urban. He's pretty cool. But Dave Matthews, I like the really obscure sort of songs
Okay.
more so than, your classics will be there forever. But if I can find a nugget in this obscure song that, I've never heard of, just something happens and I resonate with it. So,
But
yeah.
it's interesting you hit on the acoustic side of things and the grunge because when you look back at that era, that 90s era Seattle sound, the biggest selling album to come out of that was Nirvana on MTV Unplugged.
MTV Unplugged. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Matt, what's the biggest challenge going from the classical style into rock?
I don't know. Like, when I'm writing, like I write classical guitar pieces, on and it's just a frame of mind that I get into when I get to go to write. Essentially, I'll have I'll sit down purposely to write for Wayward Kings, and there's I guess a mindset that I get into. There's certain guitars that I play. I've got I build guitars myself, so I've got a
Oh,
couple
okay.
that I play with Wayward Kings, and they've got a certain sound that they have. I always play with my amp. I don't play it acoustically, so I
Hmm.
chuck it in. I chuck the distortion on and get the right sounds right from the get go. And yeah, so it's I guess it's a mindset before I even start. Get into that rock grungy sort of vibe. I have another band that I write, and it's a bit heavier, and I do the same thing with that. So I kind of sit down specifically to write a certain way, if that makes sense.
No,
You
that
can plug the other band, Matty. You can plug Codem. Go
absolutely.
for it.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
Codem's my other band, yeah. Which is a little bit heavier and a bit darker than Wayward Kings, but yeah, it's just a different set of basically I use certain scales and different um, certain chord combinations for
Mhm.
both bands, yeah,
Okay.
to develop a sound.
So
It's really interesting because when Matty writes for Wayward Kings, he thinks of what I would sing and what I would play, and
Yeah.
I think he
right.
tailors that to how he sees me playing it. And
Hmm.
with Codem, I think he does very similar stuff with Luke. He's a singer, incredible singer. And so yeah, it's you're very connected, Matty. I think
Yeah,
to
just
what
So how would you describe your songwriting process for Wayward Kings? Like Rob, do you come to the table with a lot of stuff and hand it over to Matt and say, "Hey, here's an idea," or do you guys both come with fully, I shouldn't say fully developed songs, but songs that are almost ready to go?
Well, and Bob, you're probably seeing my RPD as Rob, but it's
Yep.
Ryan.
Oh, Ryan, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
I,
That's all right.
I need
If I
new
didn't, if I
glasses.
didn't correct you, I was like I'm just going to be Rob for the rest of the
No,
rest of the show.
thank you,
Mate,
Ryan.
I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it.
I know you were. I know you were.
I
I
do
should
need
have
new
just,
glasses.
I should have just waited and not said anything, and I said,
Yeah,
"Well,
right to the end. Right to the end.
where's Rob?
My
By the
Rob's
way, my
coming in."
apologies.
name's Ryan.
No, it's all okay. Well, look, the earlier stuff that we released, I'd sort of had a bunch of different ideas that Maddie helped me sort of write. And then I think a lot of the newer stuff that we're doing, Maddie's come up with the ideas, and basically sort of put together a skeleton of the songs, and then we've just sort of jammed on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The last EP, stuff that we did, we went up and rented an old schoolhouse
Right.
and stayed there for about 3 days and played 12 hours a day and hashed apart the we took, I think we had about 12 songs that we workshopped, and then ended up with 5 in the end that we took to the studio, and
Right.
but yeah, they just kind of started with a verse, a chorus, a riff, a bit of a hook, and then we kind of go from there.
I think what we're really lucky with as well in a band is that, and I mentioned Jamie and Nick before, and they're both just monsters at their craft. And I've played in different bands where there was one main contributor, and then the other guys just had to come and be a part of that.
Okay.
But we tend to really throw the ideas around, even as Nick, as the drummer, he'll come up with, rhythm parts of the guitars. He won't play them, but the way that his brain works, he's like, if you do this, then I can do that.
Oh, okay. I
and,
got you.
and some stuff is, some really great parts have come out because of it. And so, yeah, we're really, really lucky just having the 4 of us. We're a great little band.
So what does the rest of 2026 look like? I mean, I know we're only a month in, and maybe it might be too early to be talking about the rest of 2026, but how's it looking down the road?
Well, I think this year's going to be really good. Beach Fives is cool. It's going to get hopefully get a fair bit of traction just in that circuit, and that opens up all of their fans to potentially listening to our music, which is really cool. Beach Fives are doing like weekends in Auckland. I think it's
Okay.
Auckland in New Zealand, Gold Coast,
Gold Coast,
Foster,
Brisbane.
which is just a bit further up from us, as well as Sydney. So, we're
And
hoping
Perth as
middle
well.
of the year.
Yeah.
Middle of the year to go and do some shows. It's a real shame because they had their main, we released a song on Australia Day over here in Australia, and we were supposed to play the last day they did a bigger event in Newcastle, and they had to cancel it on the last day because they had 60-kilometre-hour winds and they'd lost a whole bunch of gear, and
Ooh.
they had to shut it down for the safety of the public, and that we were looking forward to that, but them's the breaks. I think we'll get another opportunity during the year to do that, but we also signed with X Music, and Tim's been awesome for us. So getting some exposure in Sydney. Tim's sort of got his hand in Brisbane and Melbourne and Adelaide.
Tim's an awesome guy.
He's got all the bands, sort of working together, and I think this year's going to be cool. There's a bit of collaborative stuff that we're doing that'll be released probably in a couple of months. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. I think we just want to try and finish the recordings that we've got.
Yeah, we've got some recordings, that are right at the end of their mix at a stage. So we'll have a series of singles that come out this year as well. Which is going to be awesome, and some more writing. We'll be going.
Absolutely.
Doing the same thing, going back to the schoolhouse. Drinking some beers around the fire. Sorting out some more tunes.
And when you get a formula that works, why mess with it, right?
Yeah, that's it, and it's it's a good time.
It was really productive, and I think we structured it really well. So yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love to go back up there and do that again. It was just awesome.
So, what can fans expect if they've never seen a Wayward Kings live gig before?
Well, they can expect some incredible drum parts, incredible melodies, some heavy guitars, a lot
You
of
can possibly
broken
expect
strings.
some colourful shirts that Ryan are wearing, that Ryan's
Yeah,
wearing.
yeah.
You know, Ryan's hard to miss. He's about 7'10". He's a big unit.
I sort of take up the stage.
He takes up a lot of the stage. Not seven. What are you? 6'6" or something.
6'6".
He's got I don't know, arms.
I've got like a 7.5 foot arm span.
Arms from here to Canada, I reckon. That's how long his arms are. So you can expect him to, put his arms in front of my face.
But what really frustrates me sometimes, though, when we play some gigs, and we did one last week up in Maitland, they put on this little festival.
Okay.
And I got up there, and I'm like, I had about this much room to stand. And the bass player's got like 3 square meters. Maddie's got 3 square meters, and I'm like, how can I go anywhere? So that's we got to sort that out, Maddie.
Yeah. So if you guys, one of our sponsors here on CGCM Rock Radio is Iron Maiden Trooper Beer, and we like to ask the bands that we talk to if they've had a Yannick moment, because Yannick, the third guitarist for Maiden, is always the guy that's falling off the stage or dropping his guitar. What's a Yannick moment that you guys might have had on stage?
Ooh.
Or a Spinal Tap moment? Can we call it that?
I'm actually scratching my head.
Yeah, not so much this band, but I've had another band I played in. Just we may have had a bit to drink, and it got to a certain point. I've turned around and the bass player's fallen sideways off the stage. But luckily, there's about 20 people there, and they've caught him, and he's just continued to play the bass, and then they've just slowly put him back up on into his position onto the bass, onto the stage. But no, I don't know. I haven't had too many crazy moments in Wayward Kings. It's been.
I'm actually surprised that I enjoy a few beers, and I tend to try and move around a bit on stage. But I'm surprised that I've never fallen over the back of the kit. Like, I've come close many times, and I've knocked out the kick drum mic several times. But it'll happen.
Nothing too extreme yet. But look, give us time, mate. We can report back with some incidences soon, I reckon.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll hold you to that next time we chat. Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep a diary.
There you go. So what's one piece of advice that you'd like to pass along to a young upstart band that you wish you'd have received when you were starting out?
Well, something that I live by, and it's I always sort of talk to different people about it. They sort of say, how long you been playing guitar for, and how long you been singing? Because I've been playing acoustic and doing a lot of solo shows for 15 years. It's sort of how I started. And I say to them, I said, the moment that I got good was when I stopped caring about what anyone thought. And it took me 5 years. And it's like I could go and butcher 10 songs in a row and I have no issues with it, because I believe in what I do in my art and my craft. So my advice would be, just don't worry about what anyone thinks. Just believe and do what you think is right. Because you'll work it out. You'll work it out. You'll work it out.
Absolutely.
And work hard. Like, that's what I'd be saying. Just like, dig in and work your ass off, because it's super fun, super rewarding. Don't be shy about the work. It's not just all fun and games. It's if you want to get good at it, you gotta work hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's what I tell my younger self. I'd say stop going to the beach and play more guitar.
Yeah. I think these days too, you know, for young bands, it's sort of like, yeah, the art and the performance is a big part, but you really got to be doing a lot of the back end stuff now. You know, you got to be marketing, you got to be pushing your stuff, you got to be getting into venues, you got to be, you know, because it won't happen unless you put in the effort, you know, and yeah,
Exactly. The
keep
music
rocking.
industry. The music industry isn't the music industry that we grew up admiring in the 90s and whatnot. The record labels don't do anything. You've got to do it yourself.
Yep. I'm doing everything. Yep.
So before we wrap things up here, guys, step away from music talk for a little bit. I like to do this thing called This or That. It's just rapid fire questions, top of head answers. So if you're ready, we'll launch into that.
I like it.
For it.
All right. Let's see here. Maple syrup or honey?
Maple syrup.
Ocean or mountains?
Ocean.
Mountains.
Morning person or night owl?
Both.
Night owl.
Sweet treats or spicy snacks?
Sweet treats.
Yeah, spicy snacks.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Beer.
And finally, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Oh, yeah. Fuck yes.
I don't like prawns on pizza. I don't understand how people put prawns on a pizza.
No, that's
pineapple
sacrilege.
Makes the pizza, mate. It makes it. Just makes everything better.
Right on. And you know what? That pineapple pizza was created by a fellow Canadian.
Oh, good on
really?
Yep. Some guy from the West Coast, from Vancouver. Don't know his name, but I just know that he's a national hero.
Do you put maple syrup on your pizzas over there?
We probably could, yes. I haven't done it myself personally, but now that you mention it, I think I want to try it.
Well, it might be like crepes. Do you have crepes over there?
Yep, absolutely.
And you have like the sweet crepes with your maple syrup, and you fold it up, and you got that's cool.
I worked with a guy a few years ago. He was from Newcastle in UK. And he was over here for the first winter that he'd been here, and we were having like minus 25, minus 30 degree weather, and he just could not get used to it. And everybody was bugging him, saying, "Hey, man, here's a gallon of maple syrup. Chug that, and you'll be fine."
Is that what they do when it's that cold? Is that a real thing?
Sometimes it's either that or whiskey.
I'll be saying, take your maple syrup away. Just give me the whiskey.
All right, Matt. All right, Ryan from the Wayward Kings. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk. Take a few moments and shamelessly promote the band.
Yeah. Well, look, Wayward Kings. We're from Newcastle, Australia. We've got a bunch of tracks on Spotify. If you're into rock and variants of grunge and hard rock, come and check us out. Give us a follow. We're on the socials, Wayward Kings AU. And if you ever get to Australia, or when we get overseas, come and see us.
Absolutely.
I'll have a maple syrup pancake with you.
There you go. Awesome. Matt and Ryan, thank you again for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk with CGCM Rock Radio and Rock Is Not Dead Australia and X Music. And we'll catch you again next time for another edition of Rock Talk.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.